Hey there, everybody. Oh, I have the wrong camera on. Just let me go there. All right. It is so good to see you. So happy to have you on this, the 70th episode of the Paint Party Livestream. So glad to have you joining me. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Lola. So good to have you as always. If it is your first time with the live stream, this is a very laid back live stream. We paint every week. Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and we do a different painting every week. A couple of years ago, I started teaching myself to paint and decided to do some of that online with you all, so I'm always so glad to be in the studio with you. It's really a different experience to be able to engage with you. Wherever you're watching, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, wherever, you can join us in the comments and ask questions or comment on what I'm painting. I'm happy to respond to those questions and engage with you as I go along. So definitely feel free to jump in. Hey Britt, so good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. This live stream is laid back, as I said. It's really like an open house. You just pop in or pop out as you like. Some people stay the whole time. Usually we paint for an hour or two and get usually pretty far on a painting. I've been actually finishing kind of the pile of paintings that's been sitting here from previous live streams over the last several weeks. So this week I actually worked on this one. You may remember this from several weeks ago, or maybe several months ago. Started doing this one and finished it up last night actually. If you'd like to see the finished painting as well as the progress photos, you can do that on Instagram. I post all of those on Instagram, so if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can check those out. But I'm excited to get some of these done, and I've started covering my walls. This is kind of a half attic of my apartment, so lots of wall space, so I've just been putting up paintings to get them off the floors, but it's good to get some of these done. All right, let's jump right in. And as always, I will switch now back to this camera so that I can move my phone to the canvas and not make you all ill with our motion sickness. All right, we will flip that around and get this set up. All right, and in a minute, once I get this all set, I will share with you kind of what we will be painting today. If you hear loud engine noise, that is due to the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, which is happening this week in the Northern Black Hills. I live about 30 minutes from Sturgis, and the bikes are out in force. We usually have about 300,000 to 500,000 bikes, motorcycles that come to the area. We are a very small area. My whole state of South Dakota has only 800,000 people, so we get almost about half of our state's population in one concentrated area, all on motorcycles. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. It's been going on for over 72 years, I think, this year. But yeah, it started, I found out this week actually, that the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally started as a marketing gimmick for a man who had an Indian motorcycle dealership here in Sturgis, and he wanted to obviously draw more business to this area because we're so rural, and this was 72 years ago. He and his wife started hosting a motorcycle racing rally. That's how the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally started. And it started with 200 people, and the next year went to 800 people, and of course has gone up to as high as, I believe, 600,000 or 700,000 on the 70th, I think the 70th anniversary, they had like 600,000 or 700,000. So kind of great. I have been to Bike Week. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't go down the mountain that direction. I stay away from it. It's everywhere just because, I mean, there's just so many. Every hotel, every Airbnb, every even private home is rented out. So they're everywhere. And I live right on the state highway on Main Street. So The window behind me is open. All my windows are open. It's much cooler than it was the last 2 weeks. If you remember, one of the weeks my technology wouldn't even work because it was so hot in the studio. But it is probably, now the sun's starting to go down, so it's going to drop into the 70s. But it was beautiful today. I think it was about 84 for the high, so really, really nice. But yeah, Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is going on. So if you hear that in the background, that's what's happening. But we are grateful for the economic boom that it brings to our state and to our area. So, all right, let's jump in, and I will switch to the canvas. Oops, I need to flip that around. Pardon me. It showed correctly on my... Oop. Oh, there we go. Okay, now I have camera back, I believe. Let me wave. Yes. Okay. And today we are going to be working on this painting. Now this reference photo is from my recent trip to Portugal, to Lisbon, in the Castle of St. George, or Sao Jorge, I think is how they pronounce it. My Portuguese is non-existent. That is, yeah. This was a picture taken high above Lisbon from the castle there, and I thought that this that's Canon, had to think of the word. I thought that this Canon was an interesting subject. So we'll do this. This is on a small canvas, 8x10, so it is pre-primed, as you can tell. So we'll dive right in. I didn't show you something. I got new brushes this week, y'all. Look at these brushes. Aren't they pretty? They are big brushes. As I had mentioned, I wanted to begin to do more kind of loose brush strokes. And a looser style, and experimenting with that. So I decided to buy some additional brushes that are kind of large brushes that will encourage me to use a looser brush stroke. Okay, so in order to get started, let's just kind of draw our composition in as we usually do. I want to welcome those of you that popped in after the introduction. I'm so glad to have you. Let me put my, this needs flipped around as well. I appreciate all of you. Okay, so you can see my, oh no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And I want to do this. And we will put the, there we go. All right, that I hope is a little better. Okay, now we'll jump right in and just kind of draw in our, not sure exactly how to start, so we'll just start. Let's see. Usually I would start with the sky, but I really, like I said, want to start with the more, I want to develop that more painterly style, so I'm going to try to do that a little bit, and just draw in some of this. So let's see. I'm just kind of giving some dimensions, the ends of the and we'll adjust as we go. Drawing is not my forte, so we'll have to adjust a lot, I'm sure. I'm just going to keep the brush strokes really, you'll notice that I'm just holding the brush like this, just kind of, let's see. Okay, we need this. I think I'm going to adjust this proportion. That's what helps to get some paint on the canvas, and then you kind of see where you're going, especially drawing something like this. Because I do think I want it to go off the canvas, like so. We just start. As I've been sitting here listening to the motorcycles go by for the last 3 days, they started this weekend. It goes weekend to weekend, so Saturday to Saturday. Started Saturday, and there have been a lot of bikes in town previous because some come in early, but you can definitely tell when the actual rally starts for sure. I realized I think next year I want to be out of South Dakota when this happens, and I've been thinking about going back to Brazil or Portugal, so maybe that will be a good time to do that. Okay, this is a mess, and I fully admit that, but it gives us a good place to start. Okay, now when I step back, I'm just going to step back for a minute and look at this and also take pictures because, you know, I'm so good at forgetting to take progress photos. Let's start. We'll just put in a few beginning brush strokes for our. I'm going to use one of my new brushes. Let's take some blue and we'll take some of the brown, blue, white, just tone it down a little bit, and we'll start. Give the sense of what's going on back here. Obviously the sky is blue. And I'm purposely doing kind of just back and forth strokes to build up the texture on this painting, just because I like that. I like when there's added texture. So, and variation in color. So I'm doing kind of crisscross strokes. That's part of what I'm experimenting with. And I'll have to go over this again because the undercoat is showing through. Probably should have left this canvas color and just toned this part, but that's okay. I put just a little bit of color back in here, and I'll probably do some other colors just to give the feeling that there is something back there, but it's out of focus. So it's kind of a mess now, but that's okay, because we'll adjust it as we go. All of this is just kind of playing around to see. Sometimes the best things are the happy accidents, like Bob Ross talked about. You do something and a lot of times it doesn't work, and then sometimes it does. Every once in a while you get those paintings that come out and you're just like, whoa, that turned out great. Now I am painting over the undercoat and even the drawing, and that's okay because we're gonna cover that. We're just giving it time to dry. Okay. I am going to go back to my one more before I leave it. One more coat of the blue for the sky. I'm going to clean some of that up. Would be quite fun. I was thinking, as I've been thinking today about going back to Portugal, I was thinking about how fun it would be to do live streams from Portugal. I'd have to do it like middle of the night or maybe on a weekend in order for y'all to be able to participate, but it would still be kind of fun, wouldn't it? All right, we'll let that dry. It wasn't fully dry, so it's not taking the whole thing, but that's okay. All right, let's start doing something that makes sense. Okay. When we look, what I'd like to do is put in the darkest kind of shadows like we often do. So let's go and put in where we see the darkest shadow first. It's almost like a dark black. That will help us to gauge the rest of our values. So we're going to take a little of the brown and the blue to create that beautiful, natural, dark black color that we love. And then let's start putting it in. Okay, so there's dark shadow in here. So we'll just put that in. There's some up in here. I'm just kind of spitballing it, and we can adjust as we go if we have to. There's definitely there along the base of the Canon, right? It's big. And then there's some over here. And we'll just start to draw in our shadows. And slowly our image will appear out of there. And I notice I'm doing very, again, just kind of loose strokes. And because again, I want that painterly image. I want it to that feeling of just by putting shadows in, all of a sudden things start to appear though. Isn't that interesting? And then you just start building around. All right, now some of our brightest spots are going to be right in here. The top of these supports. So we're just going to put that in, and again, we'll adjust as we go. Just, there's a so we'll put that in. Oh, whoops. That needs to come down there. That's got there, but there's some kind of, this color, it's kind of a grayish color. That's kind of light there. Isn't this amazing, y'all? When you start to just get the values correct, then all of a sudden stuff starts to appear. It's like, oh, I'm starting to see something. Okay. I need a little bit of that black. Because we need some... Oh, that's too wet. There's shadows right in there. Oh, I need to start... Let this dry a little bit. But, okay. Now, okay, so we got... Actually, we need to go back to kind of this white, gray color, and let's put in some this support there, and there's one there. Connects there. Hope y'all are having a good week and that you had a good week. I worked much of this weekend. I was really a lot of stuff. The summer is usually my slow period at work, but now the fall will pick up. So, and I'm working on some projects for the Opera House, the local Opera House. I think I told you all that I joined that board. So, I am working on some specific projects there that are really important and spent quite a bit of time working on that. Oh, this is interesting. This comes actually more this direction. And so yeah, I've been working most of the weekend. I worked, so it's kind of blends all into one, which is just fine, but keeps me running in a good way. See, we're adjusting on the fly here. We'll make more adjustments as we go, I'm sure. All right. Now let's take a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Actually, jump to some, let me see, burnt sienna maybe. Haven't used it a lot, but I usually use raw sienna. But burnt sienna gives us a little more of a red, decided red tone, kind of that brick tone. So kind of get the reflection of the up here. There's a little bit up here. Some there. Okay, so we start to get that color in. At least as a base. Now we'll take the kind of a little bit of phthalo green, which gives us a good peppermint color. Then we'll take a little bit of the yellow ochre, mix that in so we get kind of a yellowish green. Then we'll take the white, because then it lightens it up. And maybe even a little bit of this blue. Kind of give us, okay. And we're just drawing again where the sun hits this. Looks super bright on your screen, but it is not as bright on mine. And it will dry even darker. So all right, we're getting there, ladies and gents. It is a big experiment, as I said. So let's let this dry a little bit. I want to take A little bit of this green. I need this more green. Whoops. It's amazing how bright that looks. I have a feeling this could be one of those experiments that's just a hot mess. But we will see. You all see the good, the bad, the ugly, and you have for the last year and a half or so. So why change it now, right? Right. Yes, correct. Stephen, correct. There's always that point also. I haven't reminded myself of that in a long time, but there's always that point in the painting where you're like, oh, this is terrible. And then it somehow comes together. And this is an intentional process where I'm forcing myself to use large brushes and a technique that actually handicaps me in a sense because I can't do detail. So it forces me to really, as long as possible, look at the structures of the shadow and light like I have preached for so long. And it forces me to reestablish those shadows, which is what I'm doing now. I'm going back and just reestablishing those darkest shadows where they fall. Because the shadows are what tell us where things are or where things should be. Okay. Now let's take a break and let that sit for a minute. That reminds me to step back, take a photograph. All right. I'm going to take a sip of water if y'all will bear with me. All right. I'm going to go back to the background a little bit and reestablish the sky. Put more texture there. Again, cover up some of the all right, I like that. Gives us, again, real defined texture. Now, what can we do to make this more I think it's restating, like I said, some of the... I restated the shadows, now restate some of the light spots. Oop! Loud motorcycles. So, the biggest, I think, is here. There. Definite. I think it's the same. I'm going to pull this up. So we do that. The illusion of... Okay. Good deal. Now we'll keep going. Brightest spots. I'm going to add just a little bit more of the blue to create kind of shadow variation of this color. It looks green on your palette there, but then that goes on this up here. That comes down on this side as the highlight there. It's a lot more, but notice how similar those look, and then on the palette they're like light years away. It's all about what it's next to. And even more gray up here. Now I see this same kind of color here. Blue, gray, kind of brownish color. Back. Oh, it's too green. Need more gray. Yeah, so we'll clean the brush. I'll pause just for a minute to take another picture because we'll establish the... All right, we're an hour in. Let's see what we can do to just wrap this one up with our, yeah. With our details. Still using the big brush, not changing really anything at all approach-wise, but just being more and more specific about where things are. Okay, this is... I think it's getting close to what we had before. Okay, over here. So yeah, we need to warm this up. Let's take this, that color, and a little yellow. Blend that. Now we need to that messed that up. So we'll have to fix that. But little by little, it's coming out of the woodwork, isn't it, y'all? If we just keep painting past the part where it's like, ugh, you just keep on swimming, as Dory said. Thanks so much, Lola. I am pleased with how it's starting to turn out, especially because I'm really enjoying, like, I really like this type of style, and I like pushing it and seeing what I can do and how I can make it work for me. So every time which I knew, I said this at the beginning, Lola, you probably remember this, and I've said it a little throughout the last year and a half or so, that my goal was just to try a bunch of different things, and I assumed that as I went, I would develop a specific style, or I would develop my own sense of style. And that's absolutely happening little by little. And it'll just continue as I refine what I like, what I don't like, and also get more skilled at what I like and don't like. So, anywho, that's my philosophical rant for today. Okay. Notice we're constantly going back and establishing our shadows, because that's what gives us the contrast that really makes whatever it is we're doing look like what we're trying to represent. I'm going to have to wait a little bit for this to set up, I think. But it gives us, I think we're getting there. That's a little much. There. So the more layers that we add on these, whoops, there goes the whole, whoa, the whole camera almost. The more layers that we add on these beams, then the more realism we're going to have. Hey, welcome, Mom and Dad. Glad to have you. This is the Castle of St. George in Lisbon. And I've been working on this with broad, you can tell, not a lot of detail, broad strokes, and a bigger brush, forcing myself to keep it as loose as possible. And so I'm just in the last hour now really refining as much as possible to help really help the most important elements of the to stand out, of the painting to stand out. So I'm reestablishing the highlights, the lowlights, where the sun is catching the light, trying to make it clear what's going on here. Okay. Okay. Now let's see if we can put very fine shadow under the lip of this and under the lip of this piece. Little by little, we're getting there. Let's see if we can wrap this one up. It'd be nice if we could completely finish this one in the next half hour, wouldn't it? Yes, it would, Mr. Steve. Guess I'm not really Mr. Steve anymore, but I was when I was teaching. So, all right. Let's start drawing in some finer shadows. All right. So we established some good shadows. Sorry if this is a little boring for y'all. It's a lot of going back and forth without a lot of progress, which is a good thing in the sense that I feel the painting's going the direction I want it to go, but at the same time, it's just kind of boring for y'all. We have about 15 minutes. How did you like painting the little girl last time? It was a big challenge. It was a lot of fun. I'm really fairly pleased with how it turned out, although you had said that it needed more, I think, I can't remember how you said it, but basically more contrast or red tones in the face. And I do think you're absolutely right. When I look back at it, that is definitely something that I want to go back and work on, just because, yeah, you're right. And so all of that to say, it was a great learning experience, but I want to go back to it and really spend some more time with it. I have another reference of that little girl kissing the nose of a horse. And so I don't know if I'll do that on the live stream, but that is also one that I want to do just to really practice painting human forms as well as inanimate objects, because I kind of focus on inanimate objects a lot, like this. So, yeah. But it was a really good, it was a fun experience to test out and to kind of just in real time learn. That was a challenge for sure. It was definitely a challenge. Okay. Now, where am I kind of missing things? This might work. I got 10 minutes. I always do this. Get down to the end. I think I can get it done, and then I don't. Just because there's more to... Okay, that's a little bright. So we need a little more blue in that. But we needed some negative space to outline this. All right, I feel like we have the good start of something here. I need to come back, kind of refine the end here, refine the lines of the Canon, but I feel like this part is really good. I need to put a little more detail into these boards, I think. But yeah, I think we're getting there. We are getting there. One last little hurrah for me. Just because the paint's on my palette. All right. Oops. Went over that board there. Again, a little more texture back here. Just because there's nothing happening in the sky other than blue, so we'll give it some brightness. All right, I think we're at a stopping point for this one, y'all. What do you think? What do you think? I hope you have enjoyed this. Let me move my seat around, and I'm going to switch you back to this camera so that I can make these adjustments to say my goodbyes. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream tonight. I look forward to seeing you next time. Let's see if I can say goodbye. I hope the motorcycles weren't too distracting back there for you. Okay. Thanks, Lola. So this is where we are with this one. Not bad. I am pretty pleased with it. We will be back for episode 71 of the Paint Party Livestream next week, Monday night, as always at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. So please join us. Yeah, I think that's it. We made it to 70 episodes. Can you believe it? We've been together 70 times doing this little game. All right, I look forward to seeing you next time. Again, if you are not following on Instagram, that's where you can find all of the, not status, but progress photos of the paintings, as well as the final paintings once I complete them. So definitely follow on Instagram. Otherwise, you can find us here every Monday night on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, etc. And I will see you all next week. Until then, have a great week and enjoy the kind of beginning of the end of summer. I'll see you guys next time.